All right, Tommy, this is one of my favorite videos that we do about every 6 months because these are the top cars that are either dead or dying in 2020.
That's right. So these are vehicles that either are going away completely this year or have no 2020 model year.
But before we get to that list, there are two bonuses. One is an entire brand that has died, and the other is a vehicle that we thought would die but didn't. But I know you guys can cut to the end of the video and spoil it for all of the people that are watching it. Please don't. Let them wait to the end of the list and put your guesses in the comments below. What brand do you think went away and what car didn't go away that we thought would go away? All right, let's get to it, Tommy.
Or spoil it and put it in the comment section below because you're going to do it anyways. Number 9 on our list is the Buick Regal. This is a vehicle that's going to be dead by the end of the year.
Yep, and it's going to be dead because, well, GM sold the brand that supported it, which was Opel.
Yeah, and Buick is going toward crossovers, so perhaps unsurprisingly, that's what's selling. They are transitioning away from traditional sedans like the LaCrosse and like the Regal, moving more into vehicles like their very popular line of SUVs.
Yeah, and I'm really bummed because the Buick Regal Turbo, the all-wheel drive one, was one of those cars that I think is on my list of vehicles that I would love to own along with the Chevy SS.
I think it was a GS, right? The Buick Regal GS?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, it was a cool car. Unfortunately, Opel/Vauxhall is now owned by PSA, so we can no longer bring in European cars. So unfortunately, that means the Buick is gone at the end of the year. What's number 8?
Number 8 is another traditional sedan, this time by Acura. It's the Acura RLX. This is the spiritual successor to the Legend. So it's a very large, very comfy, very luxurious sedan, but it seems more and more of you are not buying sedans anymore, so it's perhaps unsurprising that a lot of the vehicles on this list are that old school design, and the RLX is going away by the end of 2020.
Yeah, it's not just sedans, it's large sedans. There's very few of them left. Think of like the Chrysler 300, the Ford Taurus, right? These are big family haulers that are no longer in style and thus no longer being sold in their Acura form. 2021, the TLX is now the flagship for Acura, which is a much more sportier vehicle than the outgoing and dead RLX.
Now, number 7 on our list is a lot smaller. It's the Fiat 500, and this one is a little bit older. There's no 2020 model year on the 500, but it's still relevant, something that some of you out there are probably interested in. The 500 and the 500e, the electric version, are not around anymore. There is a new Fiat 500 in Europe, but it hasn't been announced that it's going to be coming to the US.
Yeah, it's all electric too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously much of the world is transitioning to electric cars. And let's face it, the 500, while they were cute and retro, were cute and retro like 10 years ago. And they haven't, I mean, how do you update a retro car, right? That is always a challenge. And it hasn't been updated, so it's been kind of the same car. And yeah, it's DOA.
I think it can be done though, like Mini went ahead and updated
I would argue
design.
that you just made my point.
Okay, what about the Mustang?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, what's number 6?
Number 6 on our list is a CT6. Once again, a very large rear-wheel drive bias sedan. Super comfy. The CT6 debuted the Cadillac Super Cruise system, which was a hands-free highway driving assistant. That was pretty cool. That's going to be dead this year in 2020. Once again, this is a car that I think was definitely undervalued, especially because that car was available with that awesome Blackwing V8. Do you remember that?
I remember.
So I'm going to be sad to see this one go when it finally dies away. But the plant that is built in, which I think is Hamtramck.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
Sort of, kind of.
Hamtramck?
Yeah, it's being rebooted for GM electric trucks.
Yeah, apparently the Hummer EV, I think, is going to be built there, right?
Look, Cadillac has done much better selling SUVs like the Escalade, like the XT5,
XT6.
Yeah, XT4. And so I'm not surprised the CT6 died in 2020. I wish the names would also die.
Number 5 on our list are actually two sister vehicles, the Ford Flex.
Aren't they brothers?
No, I'm going with sisters.
Cousins?
No, the Ford.
Kissing cousins?
Please, no. The Ford Flex and the Lincoln MKT. Old school, large.
I don't know why I went there. That's pretty.
That's gross. Yeah, please
sorry
don't go
about
there.
that.
The old school family hauling SUVs. The Flex is really cool. It looks like a surfer mobile, so you could get it with a contrasting roof. It has that cool side design, very flat profile, very bread van-like.
And you know what's a bit of trivia about the Flex?
Yeah, it only sells in Michigan and where's the other place? LA. Yeah, that's the only two places where it really sells a lot.
And they do a lot of surfing in Michigan, don't they, in Detroit?
Yes, they do. And MKT is the big livery vehicle. So you see a lot of MKTs used as like airport haulers or executive vehicles.
Right.
Definitely an interesting design. Some people love it, some people really hate it. I think it's kind of interesting. We tested it a long time ago. Good car, especially with the EcoBoost, but it's gone.
Yeah, you know, I actually went on the launch of the Flex, and I was like, this is neither fish nor fowl, right? It's neither crossover, nor is it station wagon. Yeah. And yet, it's always tough when you create a car like that. But yeah, it had kind of that surfmobile vibe going for it. And the people that I know that owned them have absolutely loved them. I mean, the owners are fanatic about them. So unfortunately, there just aren't enough of them. Number 4, Tommy.
Next up is the Nissan Rogue Hybrid. There's no 2020 Rogue Hybrid. And Nissan pulled out from the Rogue Hybrid with the emergence of the new RAV4 Hybrid, the CR-V Hybrid. However, there's an all-new Nissan Rogue, so I'm wondering if part of the reason we don't have a current Rogue Hybrid is because they're waiting to adapt to the new platform.
Yeah, I don't think Nissan can allow both Toyota and Honda to have basically a hybrid version of their best-selling vehicle, which is now, of course, the CR-V and the RAV4 without an answer. So I suspect one is coming. The last one I went on the launch for was okay. It didn't actually move the needle in terms of like great fuel economy, which is what you'd expect out of a hybrid. So it was kind of a mild hybrid, and it was expensive. It fell into that kind of cross-track hybrid problem where it's a lot more money and you don't get a lot more fuel economy.
Number 3, Dodge Grand Caravan. So the new minivan in the FCA lineup is, of course, the Pacifica, but Dodge has been stringing along the Grand Caravan for a long time.
10 years.
Yeah, this year it finally died, which is a shame because that was a very cool vehicle. If you go back almost a decade now, that.
Do you remember when you were a little kid and had a test
this was going to
vehicle?
say. So the Grand Caravan you could get in both Chrysler and Dodge versions.
Yeah.
But eventually they killed off the Chrysler to make the Pacifica, and then the Dodge version just kind of kept trundling along. It was very cheap, very popular in fleets, and now that's gone as well.
You mean rent-a-cars?
Sure.
Yeah. Of course, FCA still has 2 minivans, including the Voyager.
Yeah, so the Voyager is a new budget-friendly Pacifica.
Right, yeah, exactly. So basically it went away, but it was just replaced by a very similar van in a very similar market segment.
Well, it's pretty different. The Voyager is much better than the Grand Caravan.
Back 10 years ago, the Grand Caravan was pretty cutting edge.
Oh yeah, I had stow and go. I remember that was a big deal.
Exactly. All right, number 2, Tommy.
Number 2 is the e-Golf. So this is the electric version of the Golf. This died officially in 2020. I think we reported on that vehicle in like March of this year. Really cool car. So basically what they did is they electrified the Mark 7 Golf. It had about 120 miles of range. It was quick. We had one long term to test. It was a really fun little car, but that's going away in favor of the new Volkswagen ID models.
Yeah, and so it's going away, but Volkswagen has gone like all in on electric vehicles, so it's not like it's really going away. There'll be like at least 24 electric vehicles in the next 10 years from Volkswagen. They just won't be e-Golfs, they'll be IDs. Don't ask me why it's ID, I'm still confused by that.
But at the end of the e-Golf production, you could get them for very affordably with the tax credit and discounts dealers were giving. You could get them for realistically under 20 depending on your tax situation. So it was a good deal.
All right, number 1, I'm sorry to see go because it was a pretty cool car. What is it?
Yeah, the Lexus GS.
Yeah, the Lexus GS is also dead in 2020. Kind of an aging rear-wheel drive platform. Kind of occupies the same space and market as the less expensive and similar sized ES. And of course, Lexus just this week revamped a smaller IS. You just did a video on it today.
Yep, and the GS was cool because there was the F configuration with the naturally aspirated 5-liter V8. So that was a really cool car. I'm sad to see it go.
Yeah, when I started this video, I said there were 9, but in the middle of it, which you guys didn't see, our producer came in and said, hold the presses, hold the presses. BMW just killed a car with the last one rolling off the assembly line just today or yesterday. Which one is that?
Yeah, it's the BMW i8.
Yeah, that is a really sad departure for me because I think that is one of the sexiest cars that you could buy. It had, of course, the scissor doors. It was kind of it was one of the, the problem with the i8 was, or is, it wrote a check you couldn't cash, right? It looked really fast, but with a small mini 3-cylinder engine and a hybrid battery, it was like 0 to 60 in the 5-second range. It really needed to be more like in the 3-second range. But I loved it, drove it, did well around our track. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, it was too expensive too. It was for what it was.
120,000?
Yeah, it was very expensive, and there was a convertible version,
which is even more expensive. But you know what? It's one of those cars. Give it another 5 years. When they're down to like 25K, I definitely would think about buying one. All right, and at the beginning of this video, we promised you an entire brand that has gone away. Have you guys figured it out? Because we own one.
Yeah, it's the Smart brand. Now the Smart brand actually went away last year, but there's no 2020 model year, so that's why it's on the list. The Smart brand, of course, is known for making those quirky, very small city cars here in the US, so it was primarily the Smart 4.2 is what you could buy in the US in coupe and cabrio. But it's still living in Europe where you have the 4.2, the 4.4. They had a Roadster for a while, which is pretty cool, and that's just trucking along.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with Smart, besides the fact that a little 2-seater city car really wasn't what Americans wanted for Montana, is the fact that you can't really sell very inexpensive, tiny, the smallest car, in fact, in America, next to really big, inexpensive Mercedes. I think you probably needed to have, its own dealer network, which it did, but then when they consolidated into Mercedes, I think it was just all going the wrong way.
And lastly on our bonus list, we have a vehicle we thought might have died.
And thank God, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's the Audi TT.
Yep. If you guys want a really fun car, get the Audi TT RS with that turbocharged 5-cylinder. Oh my God, is that so much fun to drive. And I saw one at the local dealership that was orange. It looked like a giant popsicle with a big white lipstick on the front of it. I fell in love. If I had $80,000 in my pocket, or if I had now, I'd probably go get one of those.
I'm not sure it's a compliment, big giant popsicle.
Well, it's cool. I like popsicles. No?
That's a stretch there, Dad.
Well, no,
it's a cool car.
Orange-sicle.
That's no cooler, Dad.
With
the
the
same
vanilla
thing.
ice cream on the inside. Who doesn't love orange-sickles? Come on.
It's just a revamped popsicle.
It's got a popsicle with vanilla ice cream on the inside. How brilliant is that? It's like that turkey Dunkin' thing. What's that thing called? Where you put where you put a turkey and then you stuff it with a duck and a chicken.
Yeah. So you heard it here first. The Audi TT is the turducken of cars, apparently.
The only thing that would have made it better is if they had raisins inside.
Oh my goodness.
The vanilla ice cream.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching.
And I think this list is going to get longer because I foresee turbulent waters for the auto industry in the next 6 months. So we'll be back probably another 6 months and talk about the other half of this list when we know more vehicles that are and have or will go away.
Yeah, and head over to tflcar.com for the latest and greatest in lists like these because there's more coming.
Ciao. See you next time.